Have you ever read a really good book, really enjoyed it, feel like you've learned loads, but then literally within a matter of days or weeks, you can't remember a lot of it? You know, someone's asked you a question, you've been stuck, unable to answer, almost embarrassed, like how can I not remember what this book said? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to get the most out of every book you read and how to remember as much as possible. My name is Ash Porter, and welcome to my channel. Reading is an amazing and useful skill. It's great for our brains. It expands our knowledge, but also can give us different viewpoints and expand our horizons. But so often when we read a book, soon after we forget what it's about, and this could be down to a few things. It could be that within this book, you know, it covers a vast range of things and we purely just can't remember it all. Or it could be that we haven't learned how to remember stuff well and how to learn well. And I know I'm incredibly guilty of this. So over the last few years, purely for myself, I've been trying to answer this question. How can I get the most out of every book I read? How can I make sure that I'm not wasting my time reading books and then not actually learning from them? And how can I get myself out of those awkward situations where you can't always remember stuff? And although I am absolutely no expert, I have developed and found 5 tools or practices which have really been helping me and I think can really help you too. So let's get into it. So number 1, how you read. So first and arguably the most important thing you need to work out is how best you read. You know, in our modern 21st century world, we have numerous different ways in which we can access books and materials. But the 3 most common are a physical book, like some kind of e-reader, or audiobooks. Working out which of these suits you best and is styled specifically towards you is incredibly important because it affects how much we're going to take in, how much information we're going to retain, and ultimately how much we're going to be learning. Personally, I'm a physical book person. I love the tangible feel of having a book in front of me. It's almost like it absorbs me into that world, whether it's fiction or non-fiction, and just allows me to concentrate better. You know, I've never actually read a Kindle, so I can't really say anything about Kindles. It's just, you know, compared to audio. But I also am trying to build my own collection of books, and so that's why I also love physical books. But one thing I do know for certain is that I process what I'm seeing, what I'm reading physically in front of me way better than how I process audio information. My wife, Steph, she can vouch for this. If she tells me something, she gives me a list of what I need to get in the shop. If this has just been spoken to me, I have no hope, no hope of remembering it. Whether if it's written down on a list, I've written it out myself. Sometimes I don't even need the list. Obviously the list is a nice reminder, but there's something about physically seeing it, reading it and processing it that works for me. But you may be the opposite of me, actually. You may be someone who's great audibly, who struggles to read for one reason or another. And actually, when you hear something, you take that in really well. And I want to say to you that there's nothing wrong with audiobooks. That is still reading. You know, some people can have this prejudice, like, it's audio, listening to something, really reading it. But yes, because you're still accessing the same content and you can still learn in the same way. So step 1, figure out which is best for you. Number 2, what stands out? So this is probably one of the best known and most commonly practiced things when it comes to reading, specifically non-fiction, and that's highlighting what stands out to you. You know, some people will use nice highlighters that make their books look really pretty, or other people like me, and I'm not saying one is better than the other, you know, I just use a pen and I just make a little almost like dash at the start. I don't know, not a dash, what's this shape? I don't know, like a little right angle at the start of a sentence, and one at the bottom wherever that sentence, paragraph, quote, whatever it is, finishes. And then to me, I can neatly see, okay, this is something I care about and I want to come back to. One little tip I'd add, whether you're a highlighter, a pen user, underliner, whatever you do, one little tip is I use sticky notes, these small little ones. I'm not talking massive ones, but little rectangular ones, right? And on the page where I've used my pen to highlight it, I'll just put a sticky note at the top, because then it means I can easily refer back and find those bits that I've highlighted. And if you're really keen and really organized, you could also even write on the sticky note as like a quick, like, I don't know, like organizational system, summary, whatever it is you want to do. They are super useful. And you know, especially if you're a Kindle user or any kind of e-reader, this is even easier because it's so easy to highlight things on those devices. And I'm pretty sure even Kindle, it creates a database of everything you've highlighted. Like, how incredible is that? But what is great about this practice is it means as you are reading, you're consciously making a choice to say, okay, this is what is important to me. And you're gonna reread it, you're gonna process it to almost like a higher level than just reading something for the first time. Plus, it means, you know, you've got quotes which you can easily refer back to in the future. Number 3, take notes. Now, when we're at school or university, it's just common practice to take notes. Whether you're reading a really important book or you're in a lecture, you take notes. I mean, most people do. I don't know if you're anything like me, you probably weren't great at that. But, you know, what I mean is you're meant to. And the reason you take notes is you need to use that information again in the future, whether it's for exams or for essays. You want to retain that information and it's valuable and important to you, so you make notes about it. And I want to say, why do we stop when we leave school or university? Why, when we're reading non-fiction, aren't we always taking notes? Because surely we always want to have information that we're using again in the future. And I think this is really key to get the most out of what you're reading. And I have 2 methods which I can suggest when it comes to note taking. So method 1 is pretty simple. It's what I do at the moment. It's literally just take notes as you read, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on a laptop, whether it's on a notepad, whatever it is you need. Literally, as you are reading a book, when something stands out to you, when you think, oh, this is actually really important information, write a little note of it. It doesn't need to be extensive. It doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be an essay about it. But for me, I use this app called Notion, and I just have a page for every book I read where, as I'm reading, I will just type out some of the key information I'm learning, as well as the quotes. That's a whole separate thing. But what these notes are is they're enough to summarize what I've been reading. They're enough so that I can refer back to them and understand what's going on, and it can almost like jog something in my memory when I do look back on them. Plus, now you have not only some quotes, but a collection of notes for the future. The second method is really easy as well. And so all this is each kind of session you're reading, rather than taking notes the whole way through, it's reading and then at the end of that session, trying to summarize what you've read. So again, phone, laptop, notepad, whatever works best for you. Just try and summarize what stood out to you, what was important to you, what can you remember. And this is so good for 2 reasons, because 1, obviously it means you're getting down some notes so that you can refer back to. That's always useful. But 2nd, you're using this information, you're actively trying to recall it, find it in your brain and typing it out and almost wording it yourself. Because the good thing about quotes is yes, we can quote directly from someone and that's great, but actually using that, turning that into your own words, there's something about how you process that information which makes it stick more and more. Note taking is absolutely essential. Number 4, quotes. So remember those bits that you highlighted in section 2? Well, now I'm gonna say write out those notes, whether that's when you're halfway through the book or at the end, or whether at the end of each session, whatever you want to do it. Personally, I do it at the end once I finish the book. I just sit down and I go and type out all these notes again onto the same Notion document where I was making notes previously. And I have this database of quotes. And this is great for 3 different reasons. First, like I said, you're building up a database. You're literally taking these quotes out of the book onto somewhere that's portable, that's not gonna get lost, that you can lend books out to friends and not worry that you are losing that information, because you've got it there and then. I can access it on my phone, on my laptop. I can log into someone else's devices, into my Notion account, and it is there and I can show people. Secondly, this one's a bit more niche, but if you ever go back into academic stuff or you're writing professionally, you can quote where these quotes are coming from. You know, I also write at the end of the quote what page it's on, just so I've got a really easy reference for it. And then thirdly, and most importantly, you're using this information again, you're rereading it, you're typing it out, you're processing that information more and more. And that's the goal in this, trying to get this stuff to stick in our brain as much as possible by using it, by processing it ourselves. And the great thing about this is even if you're in that conversation and you can't remember exactly what the book says, you can say, hold on, wait a minute, pull out your phone, quickly go on your notes and be like, hey, this is the quote. It's great. And then the fifth and final tool or principle is this: 3-sentence summaries. You know, this one I 100% cannot take credit for. I did not come up with it. I mean, I didn't come up with the others. I'm sure I've seen them somewhere, but I just can't remember where. But this one I heard from Ali Abdal, who's an amazing YouTuber, an amazing businessman. I'll put the link to his channel in the description because he is honestly top quality and I've learned so much from him. But he does this thing where that whenever he reads a book, he does a 3-sentence summary to finish it. So again, on that same Notion page where I've got my notes, I've got my quotes, right at the top, I'll do a 3-sentence summary. And this means basically what it says, I'm trying to summarize the book in 3 sentences. For some books, this can be really hard because 3 sentences doesn't feel like there's enough. You feel like there's so much to say, but actually it's really good for you to try and process that information, pick out what are the key parts, what is the story that is being told, what is the key principle throughout the whole of a book, and trying to get that and process it yourself into 3 sentences. But then also for other books, 3 sentences can seem like a lot when you really haven't enjoyed a book. That 3 sentences honestly is a lot, but it's still great for processing that information. And what is great about this is it makes you condense that information into bite-sized chunks so that you can share it with other people, so that you can refer back to it and it can jog your memory again, so that you can use it in whatever circumstances. It's a really simple practice. It honestly isn't as time consuming as the other ones, but it is just as vital. And so there you go. There are my 5 tools for how you can get the most out of every book you read. I honestly think that, are these perfect? No. Am I going to change and learn and craft and grow in these different tools? Yes. Am I going to learn new ones? Yes. But for now, I think these 5 tools are working so well for me, and I think they can work really well for you. Start implementing them. They're even more powerful when you use them all together. Yes, as individual tools, they're great, but I think as a 5, they work and gel really well together. And so that's the hope, that coming away from this video, you now can hopefully get the most out of every book you read. I've been Ash Porter. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a like, subscribing to the channel, sharing with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.